That was the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations. Oh, and welcome to episode 47. I'm Goldie Metcalf.
I'm Charlie Naughton.
And this is Midnight in Baghdad. Tonight on the show, Salmon creates chaos in Taiwan. Father jailed for calling his daughter she. An Indian man killed by his own cock. Down syndrome toys. I'm not sure what that's going to bring. Bathroom finds. A prank gone wrong, and of course, our very own legendary agony aunt. Charlie.
It's been a long time, Goldie.
It's
almost
been
3 months,
December 29th since we last did our show. And this, it's not because we weren't able or we didn't want to. It was because we wanted to get it just right.
Legal reasons. Well, yeah.
Well, we did have to contend with some legal reasons, I suppose, with Lockhart and that episode. And he's on suspension at the moment. So, we apologize for any kind of offence caused, but we're back now, and it's taken us 3 months to perfect this show for you tonight. And we're absolutely delighted to be here with you. So talk to me about Taiwan chaos, salmon chaos in Taiwan. What's this all about, Charlie?
Are you okay with talking tonight, Goldie? You're a bit nervous, is it?
I'm very nervous, I must say. It's been so long. Am I struggling
even
here?
if the show ended right now, there's so many words we could work with. But chaos. When you say Taiwan, do you remember like every toy you would have bought as a child was made in Taiwan? And I never knew where it was on the map or anything like that. And you think I would have looked it up by this time, but I haven't. I still don't know. I associate it with China.
Yeah, it's basically part of the Republic of China. So you're right.
Is it?
It is,
right,
yeah.
Okay.
But the toys made in Taiwan are always, I think, a little bit of better quality
than the Chinese ones. I'm guessing, Goldie, you might be wrong though. Is Taiwan not like trying to fight for its independence from China or something like that? No.
It may be, but still technically a part of the Republic of China. It's just that they have their own flag and stuff, like,
Okay. That's always a good step on the way.
It is. So talk to me about this salmon chaos. What happened here?
Okay. Well, it's basically a marketing stunt by a company. Now, I didn't realize I was opening with this tonight, but that's absolutely fine. Land me in it. So there was a company, and there's a company or a restaurant that decided to do a promotion, and they were offering an all-you-can-eat sushi to anyone with the name Goyu, which is the Chinese characters which stand for salmon. So any person who had the name salmon in their name was going to get a free. Giyu, is it? I thought it was Goyu.
No, I think it's Giyu.
That's terrible.
It's not. It's just us, but like we think it's funny, but it's obviously that's how they say stuff, like.
Okay. Well, that's a Chinese anyway for salmon. The name salmon. So they're offering a free all-you-can-eat sushi, right? Which is a free meal basically. But not only that, you could bring 5 friends with you. So basically, you're getting 6 free meals if you had the surname Salmon. You needed to be able to prove it, of course.
Yeah.
So what people started doing was they decided to officially change their name. So it starts off with a story of a student. It's always going to be a student, Goldie. Ma Zheng Xuan, a student in Taiwan, changed his name by adding in basically Giyu. So then he could get free meals for as long as this deal went. And it just caused uproar because a lot of people started doing it as well. It only cost the equivalent of $3 to change your name in Taiwan. So more than 200 people did this and took advantage, basically. So much so that the government had to step in and kind of, complain about it.
Say calm the cacks. I assumed that Bao Cheng Giyu was a female, so you're saying it's a male.
And it's something a man is going to do, isn't it? Rather than a female.
Well, I don't know, this day and age. But they spent 7,000 Taiwanese currency, which is £176, on the food. So they've actually got, that's the value of the food they've gotten. Do you know what I mean? From changing the name. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Plus, you've got the factor that the Chinese and the Taiwanese, not to confuse them, even though they're the same, they change their names all the fucking time, don't they? Let's be honest about it.
Do they?
They do. Like, they're always like, if any Chinese person you've ever met is like a Jack or a John or a.
Oh, right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're used to it.
I presume they're just changing that though for us, like because
just to make it easier for us. But they shouldn't have to, really, should they? To be fair, we should make the effort to call them by their actual names.
Plus, I presume, Goldie, when they change your name to Jack or John, they're not legally changing it. Whereas in this case, people are.
They're actually going to the trouble, and it kind of got me thinking as well. Like, do we first of all, like, as Europeans or whatever, do we hang on to our name too much? Like, is it too sentimental to us? Is it possible for our names? Whereas these guys, like, it's just a name. If you get some free fucking sushi, well, then I'm going to change my name. It's not a big deal.
I don't know, Goldie. I'd say the opposite, because the reaction that it seems to have kind of ignited in Taiwan is there's the older generation are incensed because they think it's disrespectful to parents. And that got me thinking, because parents picked a name for you. You've no choice over this.
Yeah.
Which the younger generation could turn around and say, well, it was disrespectful of you to give me such and such name, regardless of whether I wanted that name or not.
And that's the era we're in, isn't it? And, we're going to touch on that later on in the show when we're talking about a father who kind of went into that direction, and we see what happened for him.
Yeah. But I like how you're tying the show together around themes.
Well, it's what I do, Charlie. It's what I do. It's what I do, man. You know what I mean?
It's what
15 years of show business.
What I do. Yeah.
But like the second part of this story that got me was, like, I always thought Taiwan was like a poor country. These fuckers are eating sushi for fucking free. Like, sushi's not cheap. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's expensive food.
Would you say it's expensive over there, though? Is it such a delicacy over there, the way it is over here?
Well, obviously they have more of it or whatever, and they're more used to eating it, but it still has to be fucking fished out of the sea. Do you know what I mean? Or the river, or wherever it's coming from. Like, it's a bit of grafting has to go into it. So I would say eating sushi is still a delicacy over in Taiwan.
So does that not make you think that maybe... No, I have no idea. I've never eaten sushi. Have you?
No, I don't like it. I haven't eaten it, but I know I don't like it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just the thought of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like that fish in The Simpsons. Do you remember? There's some fish. Is it a clownfish or something like that? That's a delicacy in Japan. But if you don't get the right chef, it'll kill you. Like, I've never in a million years eat that.
That's not just in The Simpsons. That's actually a real thing.
Oh, I know. But we all know it just because of The Simpsons.
Oh yeah.
But I would guess, Goldie, I would go for the reverse logic of you. You're saying that makes you think Taiwan is a rich country, but to me it would make me sound that it is poor, because if people are prepared to change their name to taste this delicacy, if they were actually rich, they couldn't be fucked to change it. They just pay the money.
They just buy it, yeah. I suppose you're right.
But I don't know. But do you know what this got me thinking? Because it's a really interesting story. And then I started to think, like, do we cling on to our names? Like you're saying, I'd never in a million years would think of changing my name. I'm grand with my name. I don't like my middle name, but no one uses it. My dad, unusually, I only found out when I was a teenager that his name is not actually his name, the Snake. He's been living under an alias.
Your father?
Yeah.
He always does that, doesn't he?
He's a sly fucker, yeah. So God knows, he probably has another family under his original name, and that was why. Claiming child benefit and all.
The tree anyway, does it, for fuck's sake? How many identities do you have?
But I remember letters arriving when I was a teenager when he started working at home, and it was for Patrick Oliver, such and such surname. Patrick Oliver Naughton.
Yeah.
And he's always been known as Oliver. And I remember thinking, like, what are they thinking? Why are they sending you this, Patrick Oliver? And he's like, that's my actual name. But he was always called from birth by his middle name. Now, why would his parents call him Patrick Oliver and then just call him by the middle name? It doesn't make sense.
Maybe they just preferred it, I don't know.
Yeah, but my mum, ironically, is in the exact same situation.
Well, don't give your mum's name away now, because you're giving a bit too much information now, I must say, this evening.
Okay. So anyway, I'm going to tell you about Adam West. You know who Adam West is?
Batman.
That's what I would have thought too. So there's a guy who he didn't have to. There's a guy who changed his name in 2015 to Adam West because his girlfriend's stepfather booked him on a Ryanair flight to Manchester in England, right? And this guy's name is Adam Armstrong, but the girlfriend's stepfather who booked him the ticket for the flight in Ryanair accidentally booked him under the name Adam West.
Right. Taking the piss out of him.
Yeah, my bollocks accidentally, right?
Yeah.
So if he wanted to actually get on the flight, Ryanair were going to charge him €337 to change the name on the flight ticket. Okay? €337. And he realized it would be actually cheaper to change his name. It would cost him €157, basically
Wow.
nearly half the price.
And that's
to
what I'm
change his
talking
name.
about. Like, would like you know, like that's hilarious and it's brilliant and it's an amazing story to tell. But would you go to those lengths to legally change your name? Like, you'd pay the extra 150 quid, wouldn't you?
I don't know. You know the way we all hate giving it to Ryanair, especially because it's Ryanair. I think it sticks in your throat. Like, have you heard that they're not giving people back refunds?
No,
who lost out during COVID?
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
that would be no. They couldn't be doing that. I'd say there's a certain.
I know of two people that haven't got things back, whereas Aer Lingus are honouring. But anyway, No, I wouldn't for the €150. But I like that he's sticking it to the man. And
so
in England, by the way,
what would it take, Charlie, for you to actually change your name legally?
An affair. If I wanted to get away with another affair, I'd do it.
You'd change it with another.
Yeah. It doesn't cost you. Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything to change your name. It's just the name and the passport. So it's actually not going to change me anything because I don't have a passport. So the €157 that the guy paid was just for a new passport because you have to get a new passport, obviously.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
Do you want to know another name?
I do. Go on, tell me another name.
Are you sure?
Go on. Yeah, we've got time for one more.
I love this one. So this fella was getting pissed off with cold callers. You know the way people ringing him like business, trying to offer him such and such or whatever. So a guy decided to change his name to Tim, and I'm just going to try and pronounce it. There's 10 or 11 P's in it. So Tim Rice, and he changed it for one reason. Because he was sick of people ringing him, cold calling him. So he decided if he had this unpronounceable name with all the consonants at the start, the people like on this they'd skip him. They wouldn't ring him anymore. And he said it worked, but he refers to himself as Tim 10p Price. Actually, no, it makes sense. There's obviously 10 P's in the name. So Tim 10p Price.
Brilliant.
Don't you love his sense of humor?
Yeah, but imagine he does. Imagine somebody makes the phone call and says, "I'm going to give this a go." Like, it'll be absolutely hilarious, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And it's someone who doesn't speak English.
I know,
as their native language. Yeah.
It's absolutely.
I wonder
brilliant.
Is it one of those guys that rang us last year on the show? Hello.
Oh, you remember that character? Yeah, he was very funny. Welcome, Ron McClan and Buzz. You're delighted to have you here. Just to finish up on this salmon story, the girl changed her name and basically translated from Taiwanese or Chinese Mandarin to English. Her name is now Explosive Good Looking Salmon. Like,
oh, really? So it is a girl?
It is a girl, yeah. But that's so crazy.
So was her actual name meant Explosive Good Looking originally?
Yes. And now it's just salmon.
Oh, she got rid of the explosive good looking.
No. I think that she changed it completely to explosive looking salmon.
Oh, sorry. Right. That's very over the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
But go on, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go on. I was just going to say that ties us in nicely to our next story when we talk about people choosing their names and things like that. We've had a father here who's been arrested for referring to his daughter as she. Have you seen this story?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like, so this is a situation where there's a father of a biological girl who that girl believes is a boy, has basically been arrested for refusing to acknowledge it and to call her she and her. Obviously, she wants to be called him. And he's actually been arrested for this. And I think this just opens up a massive fucking thing where parents are going to be getting arrested all over the place. But not only that, this girl went to a doctor, a psychologist, Dr. Wallace Wong, probably from Taiwan, quite possibly. And he basically recommended that the girl should begin taking cross-sex hormones at the age of 13. Now, would you be comfortable as a parent allowing your child undergo that process, especially if you didn't believe in it? And I know that's probably a selfish thing, but if you didn't believe that was the right thing for your child, and the court is ordering it, what are you going to do?
I was shocked by this because I actually thought a child couldn't kind of undergo this transformation without parents' consent. Like when you sent me this I had to check it up because my understanding was, no, they need the parents' consent. You've proved here they don't. So, no, not in a million years. Now, I'm totally okay with someone changing their gender and so on. If they wish to do so when they're over 18, they can do whatever they want, as long as it doesn't affect other people.
Yeah.
But no, this struck me as bewildering. I cannot understand this at all.
It's amazing.
And I feel sad for the girl. I feel so sad for the father as well.
Yeah, it's a tough situation to be in. But what's amazing is that, a 13-year-old, for everything else needs parental consent. Like, you can do nothing without parental consent these days. Because the kid is just not deemed capable of making decisions. But yet, here's a massive life-changing thing that suddenly the parent doesn't have any say in whatsoever. Like, there's going to be mistakes made there, I think, too, isn't there?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. And when I looked into this further, I mean, it's not done on a whim. Obviously, the people who are allowing her to do this believe, like, basically, what's been implied is she was going to commit suicide if they didn't let her. Like, it was a mental health issue as opposed to, let's say, a human rights freedom issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the dad clearly loves his daughter, and he thinks, or son, as he'd say, he thinks this is wrong. He said something that really broke my heart. He said, like, when all this furore dies away in 3 or 4 years, he thinks she'll regret it. And where will the NHS be then? He'll be stuck with a child who's so upset and can't undo the damage. The child, as he says himself, will have a masculine voice, will have facial hair that will have to be shaved.
Yeah.
Still.
And won't be able to have kids.
And won't be able to have kids. It's heartbreaking. The thought of arresting the dad for this just sickens me, because this is a guy who clearly, he's looking out for his daughter. That's all he's doing.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's heartbreaking for him to do as well, because, he could possibly know in his heart and soul that maybe this does need to happen, but not yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, she still needs to figure shit out. Do you know? And like,
yeah, like, he's living with her. He knows her better than these psychologists who meet her for half an hour or an hour. And she's going to say what she wants, like any teenager, to get their way.
And would you, as a father, Charlie, go to the same lengths for your children? Would you go to prison for your child?
Is he going to prison for his child, or is he going to prison for his freedom and right to voice his opinion? It's not helping his child going to prison. I mean, he's not there now.
No, it's not. But he believes in it so much that he's willing to go to those lengths, and maybe in a few years have a Netflix documentary about it. Do you know what I mean? And we all go, "Oh my God, wasn't that terrible?"
He's already got a documentary being made.
Has he? Well, there you go. Like, it's a.
Are you asking would I, Goldie? Would you?
Yeah, I'm asking. Would you go?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go to jail for that. No.
So you'd be just like, you'd be just like, here, hand her over, like, you know what I mean? Take her, make her a man, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then I continue to look after her as best I can.
Wow. That's actually, I have to say, Charlie, it's very rare in the show that you've actually put a lump in my throat. But, at first, I thought you're a bit of an asshole for not going to those lengths, going to prison for your kid. But it makes sense, doesn't it, that you're there, like, just be there for them and do the best you can. That's a lovely sentiment.
Positive. If he's positive she's making a mistake, she's going to need her dad when she realizes that mistake.
Yeah. Very interesting.
It's possible that she's not making a mistake. I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? Does this child, for all her 14 years, know she's when she was a boy? Did she just know she was a girl the whole time?
No, it's the other way around. It's a girl turning into a boy.
Or a girl turning into a boy. Apologies. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, not really turning in. They already are, I guess, aren't they? Really. But yeah, it's definitely a tough one. But I don't know, like, you definitely know children when you look at them. You can tell when you look at a child sometimes, that person is clearly, a boy is a girl or a girl is a boy, or from, maybe how they look or how they behave or their mannerisms. And you'd kind of know with some kids, wouldn't you? So
with some you would, yeah. And the way some people are lesbian or gay.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have no clue whatsoever.
Yeah, that's it though. I was going to say that. Sometimes you don't know. So
yeah, but I think in that situation where it's quite obvious, and sometimes kids do, you have to say at 10, 12, 13 years of age, they have a very good idea of their identity. It might not be fully figured out, but they have kind of an idea. So there's that side of it as well, that do you have to, at what point, the question really is, at what point do you allow people to make their own decisions? And it was traditionally 18, but how long has it been 18? Do you know what I mean? Society is evolving a little bit. We're moving on, we're progressing in a lot of ways. So maybe does that age of consent, or not age of consent, but you know what I mean, age of,
consent,
being able to,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? Should that be lowered? That's probably the question of the day.
But you see, Goldie, is this the thing? Like, we know kids want to have sex, and we know it's dangerous for them to do so. So that makes sense to keep that age. But if we're talking about a child's identity, the gender identity, you knew when you were growing up, you just knew you were a boy. No one needed to tell you that.
But it was not even a thing. I didn't know I could possibly be a girl. If I hadn't known when I was a kid that I could have been a girl, I might have taken that road. Do you know what I mean? I had no clue that was an option.
Okay, but there are people our age who have changed identity, in their 30s, and they said they just couldn't say it when in the 80s. They couldn't voice it. There was no forum. There was no way to articulate it. But they knew they weren't right in their own skin. So I like, we could argue about this. I think we do have quite different views on transgender and so on. But
I just the very same views, I think.
Oh, do we? Right.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe this, like, we don't know. The dad knows his daughter better than us, and he's saying she's a girl, but the girl is saying she's a boy. Now, is it mental health issues, or is the girl actually right and the dad's in denial? The sad thing is you never know.
Yeah, but funnily enough, in this particular story, the father does believe she has mental health issues, and she's been treated for mental health issues previously. And that is a factor in this case. But I suppose that begs the question then, does she have mental health issues and that's leading her to have these tendencies?
Yeah.
Or is it the fact that she's not able to be who she is and wants to be that is causing the mental health issues? It's a chicken and egg. You're moving around a lot there.
Sorry, just my doorbell's ringing here.
Your doorbell's ringing. We literally have a live caller.
It could be a delivery from Mr. Rice.
Mr. 10p piece.
Mr. 10p piece, yeah. But no, I see. Is it the chicken and egg issue? Yeah. So
did you lock your child out on the porch again? Did you?
No, I didn't lock my child in the porch.
Good.
While we're on this issue, though, this got me thinking about like court cases between parents and children, and I came across a really unusual one. An Indian chap who's called Mr. Samuel. He was there. Oh, actually, sorry. Are you ready to move on from the father one? Or are you okay?
No, go on. Talk to him. Tell me all about him.
Okay. But sorry, is there one more thing I'd love to ask you, actually, that confused me and got me thinking in that article? The article said, quoted the father saying that her DNA will not change. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. I should have thought about this before. Her DNA won't change. The outer appearance will change, but the DNA won't change. And I'd never actually considered that before in gender issues and so on. The DNA, but does your DNA make your gender? I would have just presumed it does.
Yeah, well, his point is, I think that, like, if it's a mental health issue and she turns into a bloke, her DNA will still be female. But isn't it possible as well that the DNA is actually what determines that? And it's like what you're saying, that it is because of your DNA. And like we've talked about this on the show before, and I don't like being too controversial on it, but
love you.
I love you too, Charlie. And
sorry, just saying love you to my daughters or sons.
Whatever they might be.
Fine with me. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's obviously because of a chromosome issue or a sequencing issue or something went wrong when the cake was being baked in the oven, for example. And I don't even like saying the word something went wrong, but it's definitely an anomaly, isn't it? But it's a natural anomaly. So while it's not kind of the way things are meant to be, things aren't the way they're meant to be. Do you know what I mean? So that's all part of normality too, in a weird way. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. But are then you just identifying gender as a biological DNA thing as opposed to a mental concept?
I think it's both.
Or is it both?
I think people say, is it a question of nature versus nurture? And I think both of them apply. Like, we are Addictive Podcast. How are you? Welcome to the show. Like, we are our environment. We are what we eat. Do you know what I mean? We're all these things. So I definitely 100% believe that people are born that way with those tendencies, and
Right.
boy is born as a girl, girl's born as a boy, and so maybe gay or whatever it is. I believe that naturally can happen, but it's definitely not. It's definitely an anomaly. Something changed in the normal process of conception and gestation. Do you know what I mean? But it's okay that happened, because that's just life. It's not something.
Do you mean something biologically changed?
Yeah, I think definitely. Like, because you have people who are born with physical deformities. You have people who have mental deformities, or not deformities, but who might be special needs or whatever the case is. So, that's definitely an anomaly, isn't it?
Yeah.
So why isn't the other one an anomaly?
But would you not imagine? I know that some people are born with their inner organs, shall we say, might be a different sex to the gender they've been given, right? But my understanding of transgender is, like, I could be 100% biologically male, 100%, but my brain is telling me I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? So there was no anomaly, in the womb or anything like that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's obviously some kind of, it is an issue within the DNA. It's the code. It's something, there was a wrong code entered, or do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean you're not physically.
In my mind.
Yeah, in your mind, something
Okay,
like your mind was going to always be wired like that. Welcome to the show, Pork Chop. So yeah, I think it is, but then you've got the other side of it. You've got the nurture side of it, and I think you can see today that a lot of people are products of their environment, and somebody who may not necessarily have been gay or have a sexual tendency can certainly be swayed in that direction, I think, by their environment.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's about,
in theory,
to
do an experiment, you'd have to be the world's worst father, but to get a child, and it's a biological boy, and you say, right, I'm going to carry out this experiment. I'm going to completely dress the boy in traditionally girls' clothes, give it traditionally girls' toys.
I'm actually sure there's probably people that do that too. Do you know what I mean? There probably is. You're saying it's sick, and it is sick. You should let the child be themselves and express. And if they want to wear a dress, great, but nothing should be forced. But I say there is people doing that. I know you're saying doing it as an experiment, but the problem with that is, Charlie, you'd have to do it with so many different people. Do you know what I mean? You'd need to, because you could do it with one child and it would work, and another child it wouldn't, because there will be the natural, whatever their biology is.
But this is what I'm saying. Can you override the biological?
I think you probably
purely
can,
by nurture,
but not always. I think you can, but not always.
Do you remember a month ago, I listened to a podcast about a random teenager who was found in Germany about 100 years ago, and they never found out where the kid came from. And the kid, it looked like that film Room. It looked like the kid had basically been raised in an isolation area for But as part of the podcast, they talked about a guy who, like a sicko, like what we're talking about here. This was a linguist, someone who was obsessed with language, and he believed that humans had an innate ability to use language, and he wanted to prove it. So I don't know, did his wife die in childbirth, or was she just willing to agree to this experiment? So we're talking about the 1800s in Germany. And this guy, when his child was born, he raised the child without ever addressing the child. So the child never heard human language.
Wow.
Until it was a certain age. And then he exposed the child to the world, I suppose, in a way that we couldn't. He was able to isolate his kid in the 1800s. Yeah. And then he was thinking, well, even though my kid is of a certain age, they will easily be able to speak. It's innate. We don't teach it.
Okay. And what happened?
Shocking. Nothing. The child wasn't able to speak, obviously. It's nurture. Yeah.
Yeah.
He believed that once the child was exposed to human language, whether by him or by the maids, that it would know how to respond.
But he hardly expected it to walk out onto the street and immediately start chatting.
He did.
Surely he meant over time, no?
No, but what kid locks their kid up for so long? He believed that it would be like a trigger immediately once they heard speech. They
and I guess out of that cruelty came knowledge, and now we know.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's true.
It gives us kind of confirmation of the fact. Definitely interesting topic.
The link
and you could go down a rabbit hole with this stuff.
Yeah, the link that you sent me in that article, I found it very interesting. The journalist and the editor of that article, they found it so difficult to identify the person they were talking about. I
Yeah.
wrote down a couple of quotes. They said, in the first line, they're so politically correct. They said, the father of a biological girl who believes she is a boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the father had said that, he's going to be arrested.
That's exactly when I was reading it, and I actually wrote it down on a separate page in red pen that I haven't looked at. I was surely they can be sued. Do you know what I mean? Why are they not being prosecuted? Do you know what I mean?
Because they were implying that she's not a boy.
Yeah, they're basically giving the government response, essentially, you know?
Yeah. And then later in the article, I don't know, was it a misprint or a slip-up? They actually I have a quote here, he has a 14-year-old daughter. So they actually called her a girl.
Yeah, they've done everything that this guy is getting arrested for. Yeah, it was a contradiction for me as well. But I guess it's difficult. You see,
I suppose, does he have a duty of care towards the girl? So, because what was it? Family abuse or some ridiculous term. I'd never heard it before.
Yeah, some Family Abuse Act or something. Yeah.
So maybe they can call her whatever they want, or him whatever they want, but the dad can't. It's crazy.
Yeah, because they're not family. Yeah, it's definitely different.
Do you want to hear about Mr. Samuel?
Okay, but we're cutting it now. But go on, talk to me about Mr. Samuel.
We can skip it.
No. I want to hear about it.
Okay.
Tell me about Mr. Samuel.
So, well, can I ask you then, Goldie? I bet you probably have heard of this. Have you heard of antinatalism, or could you guess what it means?
Antinatalism is it? Yeah. Do you know antenatal classes before you give birth and stuff?
Good point. Sorry, so that's ANTE, which means before. Anti means before, but this is ANTI, as in against. So ANTI natalism.
So they don't like people having natural births or something, is it?
Really good try. You want to have another guess?
Unnatural births.
Can you have an unnatural birth, I wonder?
Well, you could have a cesarean section or something. Do you know what I mean? Like they might be opposed to cesareans.
Okay. It's even more extreme. So there's a chap. Now, this article, I have done my research on this, Goldie. This article is 2 years old, and I cannot find any update on this. So I don't know how the court case worked out.
Okay.
But a 27-year-old Indian man calls himself Mr. Samuel. So imagine calling yourself Mr. Metcalf. He was 27-year-old businessman. He sued his parents for giving birth to him without his consent.
Did we not talk about this on the show before?
No, definitely not.
I think we might have.
Certainly I haven't.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it now that you mention it. But go on.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So this guy basically the thing is he isn't a total weirdo, because he says he understands that our consent can't be sought before we're born.
Yeah.
But since we didn't ask to be born, we should be paid for the rest of our lives to live. Now, there is a strange logic to that.
There definitely is, because
isn't there?
It's a crazy world, really, to bring a child into, isn't it? Like, it's,
You've now defined antinatalism. That's what he believes. The world is so bad that you shouldn't bring children into it. That's what antinatalism is. So well done.
Yeah.
He said,
it's just such a tough world. Like, if you think of your own personal hardships, and I'm sure everyone listening here tonight had their own personal hardships. It's just part of life. And it's a tough thing to deal with sometimes. So, fuck you for bringing me into this world. I didn't ask for this shit. It's definitely, I see his point. But, I don't think you should be paid for the rest of your life just for living. You got to make your own way in the world, deal the cards you're given. Do you know what I mean? That's what you got to do. But I definitely see his point, and it's not surprising to hear a headline like that.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying too. But then again, I think they refer not to our generation, but the generation that has kind of come after us. They identify them as the snowflake generation, because let's be honest, with the exception of mental health issues, and I know that's a huge thing. I can't just say take mental health issues out of the picture. But if you take mental health issues out of the picture, everything about a millennial's life is so cushy compared to every previous generation in history.
But doesn't every generation say that?
No, but factually, I mean, in terms of natural disasters, human illness, we're living through COVID, and look, the deaths are tiny compared to the Spanish flu 100 years ago exactly.
I think we are so
advanced. No,
did we not surpass
the deaths of coronavirus compared to Spanish flu.
I think we might have. I don't know. Somebody needs to check that out
I'd
for
love if
us.
someone could check that. Remember that girl in America who was working in a shop or whatever? She started checking out all the data for us and texting it in. It was lovely.
Yeah, that was
But
great.
she couldn't ring in because she was in work. Then she told us, I'm working in a shop or something. No, but would you not agree like that? And I'm not criticizing the generation coming just slightly after us, because I think we had it easy too. But it's not such a bad world to be born into.
I think the challenges have changed. Do you know what I mean? Like the bar always changes. Like, 100 years ago it was probably a case of where do I get my next meal? Do you know what I mean? And then you progress and it's a case of how do I deal with fucking COVID and
gender. Yeah.
Gender
or
and all
gender
these.
issue. But can you compare that to how I get my next meal? I mean, there's no comparison.
I think each generation has its own strife to deal with. Do you know what I mean? And it just gets better. I suppose looking back, it gets better. But in 100 years' time, people are going to have it so much better that they're going to look back to us and think, "Jesus, look at the shit they had to go through." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, and there'll be someone 100 years from now, like you, saying, "But no, we do have our issues to deal with."
Yeah, but there will always be something. Like, you're probably talking about a planet-ending fucking event in the future that these fuckers have to deal with. Do you know what I mean? And they'll surpass it. They'll get through it. But it's just going to be different. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's definitely going to be the environment. Let's be honest about it. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's definitely going to be environmental issues. They're going to be probably cursing us. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on to something a little bit more lighthearted. And by lighthearted, I mean a man being killed. But in a funny way. And I don't know if you're writing or what you're doing there, but if you're looking on the stream here, folks, it's an Indian man was killed by his own cock. And when by cock, I mean his own bird during a cockfight. So he was killed by his own rooster. And I suppose we're dealing a lot tonight with the Indian and Chinese population, aren't we? But it just seems
because they are mad, though.
Yeah, they get up to a lot of crazy shit. Yeah, I wouldn't say they're all mad, but yeah, they get up to crazy shit. But when you first hear this headline, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was trying to picture it. Like, was it some kind of sex act gone wrong? Were you?
Yeah, but I was like, how could a rooster kill a man? I was like,
oh,
no, I was like, did you not think about that? Like, how is it possible?
No, I thought I misread it. I thought it was a cock, like a penis thing.
No, it's not a penis thing. It's actually a rooster.
I know it's not now. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, sorry, people, a switchblade buzz. You're not far off, or buzz. Yeah, he basically, I was trying did it peck his eyeballs out or whatever? No, he had a knife strapped to it. So he was basically, these were cockfights, not just like a normal cockfight. They were fucking strapping weapons to the fucking things. Like, this fella was impaled in the groin by the knife as the animal tried to escape. The man died on the way to the hospital from a loss of blood. Like, can you not, like, whatever you think about animal rights and whatever, like, do you know what I mean? Like, dog fighting, cock fighting, any type of fighting is wrong. It's cruel. It's, you're an evil fucker for doing it. But is it not enough for you? Like, do you know what I mean? Do you really need to take it to the next level where you're fucking mounting fucking lasers and knives and all sorts of shit on the fucking animals as well? Give the fucking thing a fair shot, no?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I'm laughing because it's karma, isn't it?
It really is. It's a definite, and that's why I say a bit more lighthearted, because there's nobody here listening to the show that's thinking, "God love your man." They're all thinking,
not one person has sympathy for him.
No, they're all like, "You got what you deserve," type of thing. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's definitely a crazy one.
And I know you tried to contact the two people that were in the ambulance, the two medics or whatever, to get them on the show tonight, and they couldn't come on. But it's very, like, if the medics were you and I, when you say this chap died from a loss of blood, wouldn't you have made it very clear to the ambulance driver, don't rush this one, don't break red lights?
I don't know. I don't think you could do that. You see, because if you're in that position, like, you've sworn an oath. Do you know what I mean?
Now, hand on heart, Goldie. Hand on heart.
No, I don't know. I don't think I could be that cold. I'd be thinking you don't deserve this, but I do it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's your role. You're entrusted to do everything you can for this person. So you just got to do it. You might think they're an asshole, but yeah, I think the oath would
Really
overrule in that situation. Yeah.
Okay, let me put it this way. Supposing you had a child, very, very seriously injured, and you're driving the ambulance, you're going to break through every single red. You're going to risk everything to get that kid there, aren't you? You're going to risk your own health.
Do you know what I think the problem with that situation is? If it is your own child, you would.
No, I don't mean your own child. Any like a random kid, like you're just a medic and you get a 999 call.
All right, no, I don't think. I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Maybe you would a little bit more. Yeah, but I don't think that's a reflection on the person. I think it's a reflection on the fact that it's a kid. Do you know what I mean? That it's like there is a bit more urgency. There's a reason we say women and children first, and maybe we're not allowed. But maybe we're not allowed to say women anymore. Maybe it's just children go first, and the rest, fucking fight for it. Is the kid a ginger? That wouldn't come into it. That definitely wouldn't come into it.
Sooner or later, you won't be able to give kids priority because that will be incorrect too.
It will. The ageism, ageism was another thing that's kind of coming to the fore now, and it's a very unusual one, very strange one. But no, can I get back to the other thing? You were saying
I'm actually shocked, though, Goldie, that you wouldn't have. I'm kind of like I am genuinely. I'm shocked.
I hope you're shocked in a good way.
No. Wow. You have a very. I would have thought. I've known you for more than half my life. I would have thought you have a very innate sense of justice and what's fair and what's right, and you know that is different sometimes to legally what is fair and what is right and what is justice legally.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. But when it's and this is kind of getting to where I wanted to go. When you're not involved, yeah, absolutely. If do you know what I mean? If it's not personal to you, well then yeah, you have to be that bigger person. And this is what I wanted to say. If the kid in the ambulance was my kid and I was driving the ambulance, you're probably damn right I'm going to take more risks. But the problem with more risks is it's risky. Do you know what I mean? You could be so invested. It could be so personal to you that you make mistakes and you end up overturning the ambulance, or you do something stupid. So I think if they're our own kids, yeah, you're definitely more willing to do more for them, but that could be to their detriment too.
That's true. But let's go back to your man in the ambulance, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Supposing that I'm just trying to get to the nobody issue here with you. Supposing it wasn't a cockfight he'd been involved in. Supposing he'd been involved in child abuse, okay, and he'd been renting out his own kid, and somehow he got injured or beaten up by someone who was raping his kid, and then you're bringing the guy to hospital. So you're looking at a fella who's pimped out his own kid. Would you still want to rush him to hospital?
Yeah, like you're trying to get at me, and you are.
No, I'm honestly,
you're definitely
no. Is it because is it because he had an animal that he was abusing as opposed to
no?
A child?
But you're definitely tugging at something. Do you know what I mean? You're pulling at something there, and that's making me want to say yes. But then there's this overriding sense of what's right that takes over. Do you know what I mean? Like I suppose personally, yes, I want this fucker to die. Do you know what I mean?
You still would have driven the ambulance.
But my humanity kicks in, and I'm like, no, get this fucker to hospital. Like, and maybe, do you know what? Dying in the ambulance is not good enough for him. There's maybe an element of that too. Let him, let the world know who he is, and let him fucking live with that shit himself. Do you know? But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, you're definitely tugging at something, but I don't think so. I'd like to think that I do the right thing. Okay.
You want to go back to something about this story? Sorry.
No, I've said it. Mm-hmm. You came to me today with a story that I'm very wary of discussing on the show at the moment. I'm not sure where you want to go with it. So I do want to put on record that this next subject, folks, is making me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Charlie, you want to talk to me about the father of a girl who is 6 with Down syndrome, and she says she's thrilled after she inspired toy company to make a new
Inspired.
that looks just like her. Inspired toy company. So basically, a toy company has made a Down syndrome girl based on a real life girl.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not sure why this is on Midnight in Baghdad, but I'm sure you're going to
I am.
draw that out.
Why are you so nervous about this? I mean, we've discussed many controversial things, and we're not being controversial.
I know, but I don't
we're
think
discussing controversial things.
No, I get that, but I don't think this is controversial. I think this is lovely and this is right, and
I agree.
It'll help other children and people kind of understand and respect and
I agree.
empathize and whatever, all those lovely fancy words. It'll help. So I don't see where the badness is here or where you're coming at. So I'm curious.
Okay. No. You will agree that we often use news topics that are in media today as a stepping stone or a thought to the future. And what does this show us about our society absolutely. Now? Are we going too far and so on? So I agree with you. On the surface, this is a lovely story. So like you're saying, just to clarify for anyone who hasn't heard about this, so there is a girl in England who has Down syndrome, and the Hasbro company or something like that, the family was already known by the Hasbro company because the dad built a treehouse for his daughter last year. That was a replica of a Hasbro toy treehouse, shall we say. So they were already kind of known, in, I suppose, on social media and stuff, and by the company as a publicity stunt. And when they found out that the dad had done this for his daughter and that the daughter had Down syndrome, the company very nicely did, instead of suing him for copyright infringement, they probably were suing him for copyright infringement, Buzz, and then they realized, oh shit, the girl is Down syndrome, so it's going to look bad, aren't they? No, but did you ever see the In-Betweeners when they're all queuing up and there's two queues for this kind of roller coaster, and there's the queue that you queue to get in the very front, but that's a harder queue, you're waiting longer. So the four boys from the In-Betweeners wait in a longer queue, and only one of them is let on because there are other people who came from the other queue and they're getting in the front. And one of the lads goes, "This is typical, I hate this," and so on. And he insists on getting in the front. And when he gets in the front, he realizes all the people who kind of skipped the queue, they're Down syndrome. And he was going mental at them skipping the queue. But this is exactly it. You feel, oh, I'm so sorry, that you have to apologize for them, or to feel sorry for them, or think that they deserve extra rights.
I don't think they deserve extra rights. I think they deserve equal rights. Okay,
I agree. But they got extra rights because they skipped the queue. They didn't join the normal queue for getting into the...
So you're saying that they should have just queued up normally.
Yeah, but they didn't. Or the guy gave them this.
I think that's...
But anyway, but that's not my point. No, I know.
You've raised the point. Should there be separate queues for disabled people?
No, that's not the point.
I know that's not the point you're trying to raise, but you have inadvertently raised it. And that's 3 queues at the ATM now, Buzz. You're right. We won't talk about that one. Who's in the 3rd queue? But I don't think so. It's very hard for me because I've known people with special needs, and I've had the pleasure, I suppose, of known them for a long time in my life and being very close to them, and also worked with them for a little while. And they have something to teach us, I think, about life. We call it special needs, but they really are special, and I mean that in a lovely way. Their view on the world, their innocence, there's a lot they can teach us. And I always feel, and I know you're going to take the piss, but I always feel touched by them. Do you know what I mean? I mean genuinely touched. This is a weird thing for me to say, but I always said to myself, when you're expecting your own children, Charlie, you're obviously worrying about different things, and will the pregnancy go well, and will to be born okay, and all that kind of stuff. And I think we all thought that it's human nature, I think, to worry about that kind of thing. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And I did. And one of the things that I kind of came to realize while thinking about that is, if it was born with special needs, as in Down syndrome, that would be a kind of an amazing thing too. And I felt bad for saying that, but then I was like, well, why should I feel bad? Because I think while it might be a tougher time raising the child or whatever, there'd be some amazing magical moments. Do you know what I mean? Still, and I think it's nearly a blessing. Is it wrong to say that?
Well, I would 100% disagree with you anyway.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying. You're very glass half full tonight, and it's lovely. But in a million years, you wouldn't have wished for your partner, for the child inside your partner, to be born Down syndrome. Obviously.
No, absolutely not. Because it's tough. As Buzz hits on there, it's a tough life for us as a parent, and it's a tough life for the child too. You know, because obviously they're not going to have all of the same opportunities, but you can try to give them as many as you can. But yeah, it's obviously not something you definitely wouldn't know. I'm not saying that you'd wish for it. I'm not saying you'd wish it on somebody or you'd wish your child to have it, Down syndrome. But I think if it happened, it would be a blessing. And that sounds weird, I know, but I don't know how else to convey that. Like, I think
a blessing is normally a good thing, Goldie.
Yeah, but I know, but I think you just make the most of it then. Do you know what I mean? Like of course you take the opportunity to make yourself more.
Yeah, look at what Buzz said there about his godson.
Yeah, and most loving human. They are the most loving humans, and they're funny, and they're you know. But it's the parents. It's Buzz's god. It's the parents of Buzz's godson that you feel sorry for. My cousin is Down syndrome. He seems to have a really good life. The negative thing for him, he doesn't have the normal life that we've had, but he's unaware of that. It's his short lifespan. So, but it's the parents who suffer. It's the parents who have such heartbreak and such difficulties, and their life changes. When you're like, look at your eldest kid. She's gone off to England and so on, and you're to a certain extent you're wiped your hands clean of her. You don't have to. You don't have to You're not worried on a day-to-day basis about her anymore. You don't have to clean up after her, and so on and so on. If you're the parents, I ever did, but go on. But if you know where I'm going. If you're the parents of a child with extreme special needs, you are always parents. You never get to pass the baton on. They never grow. I know, but and it's heartbreaking for them. Romo Clan, I was actually on the show last week. Hit the Lotto, fantastic show. It was a really good show, actually. I did. I listened to it. It's brilliant. I'm glad he's a great dude. He's a really, really good dude. He is. You shouldn't be using "dude" as an Irishman, though. But he says, "Sorry, all right, man." I'd say parents of Down syndrome. You absolutely took over that show, Romo Clan. 100% agree with you, Goldie, and Romo Clan hits the nail on the head there. They would agree with me because. Although what you're saying is true, it is tougher and it's hard and whatever. They wouldn't change it for the world, and that's the reality of it. Do you know what I mean? You just wouldn't change it for the world. No, once you've met, I presume your child, like you wouldn't change your children for the world, regardless. No, sometimes you want it. Sometimes you want it. Sometimes you want to give them back, but reality, like, came down to it, you wouldn't do it, would you? You know what? One of the I remember a lot of shit that you've told me in my life because you're probably the biggest influence I've ever had on my life. But one thing you told me when my first child was born, you said, you're going to love her. You're going to kill to protect her. And this is a quote. I can remember you're about 20 yards away from where I'm sitting right now. It was in the front room. And you said to me, but there's going to be days where you're going to want to get her head and fuck it up against that wall because she's going to wreck your head so much. And you said you love her, you'll do anything for her, but she's going to wreck your head and you're going to want to fuck her head off that wall. And I thought, he's totally right. Now, I know my kids are only 9 and 8, but I've been, Goldie, I'm the luckiest fucker in the world that those moments have never hit me yet anyway. Now, I know really? Girls, Jesus, you're doing really well. They've never hit me. But the girls, they're going to be teenagers. I know they're going to be a nightmare when they're teenagers. But because I thought it would have happened by now. Like, there's obviously been hard moments, but I've never ever felt that, you know. So I think I was probably being, just for the purposes of anyone listening, I was probably being a little bit dramatic. Too slow. Do you know what I mean? I'm too slow listening. You know, I've obviously, like, you're not going to bang their head against the wall, but just times you want to kill them. Like, do you know what I mean? And I say that with, like, the lighthearted version of the word kill. Like, no, but you know what I mean? There are days you want to kill them, and mine is 5 and I want to kill her. Like, do you know what I mean? But, like, can't. Do you know what I mean? It's illegal. So,
well, what topic are we on?
I don't know. We're
on Down syndrome. Yeah, we haven't even got to the topic. And you thought we wouldn't have things to say about this.
Okay. What's your angle on the Down syndrome children?
2 angles. It's not the Down syndrome children I want to talk about, you see.
Okay, will you stop moving about there?
I'm turning my pages, looking at the research I do.
Okay,
it's the company.
Slower, will you?
Does that not make it worse?
Talk to me about the Rosie Boo doll.
Okay, it's not the child who I think it's the most beautiful thing. That kid, like, that's so special for that kid. It's lovely. Fair play to the dad. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the doll. I just want to say the doll doesn't look in any way Down syndrome. It's ridiculous. It doesn't look like a Down syndrome
but isn't
doll.
I was thinking that too, but isn't that the point? Isn't that the point? It doesn't look like a Down syndrome child. So it's like, it has a diagram here. It's like rainbow eyebrows, fringe modelled on Rosie's own, which she cut in herself. So she contributed. Almond eyes, button nose, and a round face. Like, boots with extra support to help with walking.
Okay,
odd socks, a universal symbol worn in celebration of World Down Syndrome Day, which
Did
we
you
saw
know that,
this
Goldie?
week. I did. I got asked to do a photograph this week. I wasn't in a position to do so. Bunny dressed to reflect Rosie Boo's love of nature and animals. So, you know, there is symbolism there, but the point is, they're not meant to look any different. Like, you know what I mean? You're meant to view them the same. I think that's the point. Now, I'm looking at the doll. Okay,
that's wrong.
It has wide eyes, but it's not. I wouldn't have thought it was Down syndrome. No, it's actually lovely. It's really cute, but it's not the point.
Doll.
Yeah,
no, I think that shouldn't be the point. Down syndrome children do look different, like the way, like Buzz is saying, a ginger. A ginger looks different to someone who doesn't have ginger hair. There's nothing wrong with looking different.
Yeah, and that's the whole point.
But I think Hasbro pulled the plug, didn't have the confidence to follow through. They didn't have the confidence to produce a doll that looked Down syndrome. That doll does not look Down syndrome. If they're you're saying it's symbolic. Okay, I get that, and that's lovely. But what would be the big problem? Why didn't they go all in?
Because
it's a doll that looked like the child.
Okay, I understand.
Were scared it would hit sales.
I feel your angle now. I get it, and I do agree with you in a certain way. But again, and we talk about a utopian world on the show an awful lot, and I think that's where you're looking at. In all things being right in the world, and it's, you know, utopia basically, your method is right. Yes, you know, publish or build this doll that actually looks like a Down syndrome. So it actually, parents buy it for their kids, and kids want to play with it.
Okay? And kids who aren't Down syndrome want to play with it.
And kids who aren't Down syndrome obviously want to play with it. That's what I mean, yeah. So, but that's the ideal world. Unfortunately, we do have certain stigmas and we have certain problems.
Exactly.
And I think this is the way to do it, because the child is going to want the doll, and then the parent actually explains why he has odd socks, why the shoes are different. So the kid actually learns more about what it's like. Do you know what I mean? Or, you know, basically learns in a different way rather than it's just this child looks different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so they've done the symbolic route, and fair play to them for doing the symbolic route, but that's just the point, Goldie. They're making a big deal about it being a Down syndrome doll. It's not a Down syndrome doll. It's a symbolic celebration of children with Down syndrome, and that's lovely. But then it should have been marketed as such.
I have to disagree with you on this one. And Roma Clan says they wouldn't sell them. They are a business, so doing a doll that represents the right things that sells can do more for conversation than one that is an exact replica that will not sell. And that comes from an expert in the field. Like, he's right. You know what I mean? If you have a Down syndrome doll that looks like a Down syndrome doll, they're not going to sell. So while you've made a point in principle, you're not actually getting the message across. What he's saying is send them out looking really cute. Not that Down syndrome people don't look cute, but you know what I mean? Make them saleable, and the message will actually get through more through the education and based on the symbols. Do you get me?
Yeah, no, I do. And I get what Roma Clan is saying. So it's the parents that do the graft there, that do the hard work.
Yes, and we talk about nature and nurture, and this is part of nurturing your child.
Let's ignore Buzz's next comment. We can't go there. I'm not allowed to even respond to that one, Buzz, because Goldie will cut my call.
No, we can talk about it. Traditionally,
I get what Ron McClan is saying, Goldie. I do. I just think, okay, you want my angle on this? I think this is a very smart business ploy. That's all this is. Is this really a celebration? Have they hopped on the bandwagon of the fact that it's Down syndrome? It was Down syndrome day yesterday. Have they not just hopped on the bandwagon and come up with a marketing ploy? Or I don't believe that they're.
Does it matter? Does it matter? It's probably one or the other or both, and either way, it doesn't matter. Like the company, of course, are not going to sell something or make something that's not going to sell. We know that, so they're obviously in it for profit. Now, do they have a part of them that's saying, "Oh, this is great, it's getting a good message across," or are they saying, "Who gives a fuck once we make profit?" I don't think it matters, because once the message is getting across, then it's actually the net gain is more. So why does that bother you so much?
It seems sly. I don't know, and I know companies. The whole aim is to be sly, because the whole act of advertising is to make you buy a product without realizing you've been encouraged to buy it. So it's just a topic. I'm not going to say it annoyed me, and I'm not going to ruin anything. Like, I'm sure a lot of listeners here are big fans of Line of Duty. The first episode of the new series.
Be very careful.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ruin anything. That's just what I fucking said, Goldie. So the first episode of the new season of Line of Duty yesterday.
You're actually breaking up, and I'm not even.
I didn't know that. Okay, well, it was Down syndrome day, and I didn't know that. That's a million times better than what Hasbro did, in my opinion. I think there's ways of doing stuff, and I'm just
okay. Charlie, can I just say it was funny a moment ago when you're. Charlie, it was very funny a moment ago when you were breaking up, because it was perfect. It was like I didn't want you to say it. But will you move to a position, please, where we can actually hear what the fuck you're saying?
I honestly haven't moved anything. I'm just been sitting here in the same place for the last.
Okay, you were breaking up there minutes. For a moment.
Okay. Anyway.
20 minutes. Yeah, the show was on for an hour, but you'd settle down there.
No, I'd moved in earlier.
Go on anyway.
With the kids and stuff. It just got me thinking of. Can you remember when we were kids? Was there any inappropriate toys? Any politically correct toys, anything like that? Like Buzz said there, like a black kid who buys a black doll, a white kid probably won't buy a black doll. Would you agree with that? I don't think that's true
anymore.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think once upon a time, but not now. Like, not in the last.
Plus, we all had gollywogs as kids, didn't we? Did you have a gollywog?
We did. Yeah. I'm not sure if I had one, but I've seen them around. Yeah.
Like in white kids' houses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's not a thing now. It's just normal. Like, my kids have lots of mixed race dolls, and I don't know why I laugh when I say that, but they do. But it's actually funny, because we have some, I suppose, black members of our family, and it's never been an issue. Nobody's ever asked any questions, kids or anything like that. And only last week or earlier on this week, the youngest turns around and says, "Why is my cousin brown?" And like, are they not her auntie's kids? Like, they can't be. Like, she said that, like, her auntie couldn't have had those kids, because her auntie's white and the kid is brown. And I don't know what prompted her to ask. And we were just like, fuck it anyway. But no, we were like, because
just throw the jerk on.
Yeah, put on the jerk there. What's that mean? Best education you'll get ever.
So
but the answer was basically, the answer was that Holy God took the ingredients from her mammy and her daddy. And when you get mixed white and black, you get brown. And, she was happy with that answer then, that the ingredients were mixed and put into her mammy's belly, and, black and white makes brown. And that was happy enough for her to accept. But it's strange that the question
is light, like is mixed
like
race.
She's
not black.
Like,
okay, and the dad is black and the mom is white.
Yeah, mixed race.
Why do you think it? Like, so she's 5. Your daughter's 5.
Mm-hmm. 5.
Okay. And why now? Why does she only notice it now?
That's what I don't understand. It's in the last couple of months, the stuff that's coming out of her mouth is like far beyond what I think I would have been at that age, and certainly what my previous 2 kids were capable of saying and understanding and putting words together like that. Like, you shouldn't be like at that age, you wouldn't expect to be able to put together. So yeah, very, Very
Do you think
strange.
things have changed then that much in the space of that few years? More like aware? Children are more aware of...
It could be a COVID thing, to be honest with you, as well. And as I said, it's only in the last couple of months, but I know you're probably the exception to the rule because you don't allow a lot of screen time with your children. But I think for a lot of us, it's been very difficult to entertain the kids and to get them out or to basically keep them engaged in anything. And they're all resorted to their PlayStations and their iPads and their iPhones and Xboxes and whatever else they have out there. So I think they're a lot more screen time. So my kid is probably learning a lot of stuff from YouTube and phrases, for stuff for things that none of us would have ever been exposed to before.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's definitely a factor in it. And does that make me a bad parent? Maybe. It probably does, but that's just life.
Or does it make you a good parent? She's more culturally aware.
And there is that other side of it too. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose that comes in. You're breaking up there again, Charlie. But I suppose it ties into our last segment in the show in relation to age of consent and age a child should be able to make their own decisions. If they are getting more educated, for better or worse, should that age be reduced? It definitely ties in with what you were saying earlier on.
Yeah. Roma Clan has put up something there, interesting, Roma. That's my apologies. It's not the company Hasbro. You're right. It is an Irish company. I heard about them, Lottie Doll. I confused it. If I can make an apology to Lottie Doll right now. That's our second apology on the show.
Second apology
I
tonight.
love this show. And we're only 1 hour in. But yeah, sorry, that was my mistake, Roma Clan. Hasbro was another article I'd researched earlier.
I think you should be apologising to Hasbro more than Lottie Doll.
No, Hasbro needs to apologise to us. Hasbro released a troll doll. You know that movie Trolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the hair. And just there, this was an article that was on my mind, and it came up again when I was researching it today. So my apologies. They had a doll just there at Christmas time, and it was a doll that made noise, and if you touched it in certain places.
Oh, Jesus!
And it got...
This is for children.
This is for children. Right. But I'll pull this up here. Let me see. So
don't pull anything up while you're talking about children, please.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
So this was in September 2020. A petition was signed. Hasbro eventually removed the doll from their shelves. So they accused the toy maker of promoting child abuse because there was a button on the doll's, quote, private area under her skirt. And this is a doll that has a button on the stomach. Your kids probably had this kind of doll. Mine do, where you push the button on the stomach and it might say like, oh, I want a bottle or whatever. But there was a button under its skirt.
Starly, Mark.
Yeah, can I score something?
Yeah, but
there was a button in between her legs. And when you press this button, like, there's no way I can explain this, Goldie, without you just thinking this is fucked up. And it is fucked up. So a button under her skirt, in between her legs, and when you press this button, it would cause the doll to make sounds such as "whee," "oh."
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So I don't know how that got through the Hasbro checks, but that was
Quality
released
control.
to the public. Quality control.
Wow.
And there was a petition, so they pulled it, got rid of it immediately. That is, like, that's shocking and that's disgraceful. And I'm not in any way politically correct or whatever, but I couldn't believe it made it onto the shelves.
And is that somebody, like some engineer that's like just perverted or taking the piss, or is it somebody that's so like? And we hear about we all know that the nerds in our life and the most intelligent people and are usually fucking stupid, like in relation to common sense and the way the world works. They're very good book people. So could this have been some engineer who just for some mad technological reason it made sense for that button to be there because of the internal workings, and it never dawned on him? He's so fucking like innocent and smart that it never dawned on him this is going to cause an issue. It could have been just the actual most efficient way to circuit the board or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Is it possible?
I don't know. Or is it a technician with a grudge? I mean, I can't get how anyone would see that as being right.
Did Hasbro comment on it at all? No.
Yeah, they immediately removed it from the shelves that they admitted it was inappropriate. All I have in this, I'm looking at it here. They admitted it was inappropriate. Obviously, no intention was meant. I get you.
And just before we move off this subject, Charlie, and I want to get back to why Hasbro doesn't need an apology, or sorry, that does need an apology. Lottie Doll doesn't need an apology.
They do need an apology.
No, I don't think they do, because Ron McClellan hit on it there. He says it's known for its diversity of dolls. So, immediately you think, oh, well then, they must be doing it for a good reason. But there's also the possibility that they have just found a niche. And it's a case of some smart fucker has said, oh, there's a market here for special needs dolls and amputee dolls and whatever the case is. No, but whatever it is. And I'm sure they exist.
Think that would even cut the cost
for the money.
The price
That's also
of
the
producing the doll would be cut.
I think the jury is still out, and I don't think Lottie Doll actually deserves an apology for the comments.
So we're not giving them one, are we?
No, Hasbro's definitely getting one. Lottie Doll, I think the jury's out.
No. Hasbro apologized to us.
Yes, and I'll apologize to them.
No, we don't know. Okay.
It's an official.
I don't think we should apologize to Hasbro. I think they should be apologizing. If we can get them on the show to apologize. If Lottie Doll contact us, I think we should apologize in the next episode.
If they contact us. Okay,
yeah.
We'll consider it. So, moving on to our next subject, and we kind of, in fairness, your special need dolls had a bit more weight to them than I expected. So, this company finds its employees for going to the bathroom and considers them lazy. Yeah, so you brought this story to me today. It was a late edition. But talk to me about this. What's the problem here?
Well, you've just given it. Is there any more problem than a company that finds its employees for going to the bathroom? So this is a company in China.
Yeah, we're staying in the Chinese block.
Yeah,
and the Indian block. Go on.
So it's called Anpu Electric Company, and they're going to apologize to us. They fine their employees 20 yam. Now, 20 yam isn't real money, obviously. So I had to translate it.
No, it's not 20. It's yen. All right. One. I can't. Yeah, I can't. Yuan.
It's spelled
yuan.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Yams 20, are coconut kind of thing.
20 yuan.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man, that's racist to even pronounce
it's not,
it. Like
that's how you pronounce it.
This Buzz put up.
Barbie fashionista style with long brunette hair and prosthetic leg, wearing sweater dress and accessories for treats. Yeah, the amputee dolls, of course they exist, Buzz. Of course they do. But we're on to a new subject. So talk to me about this.
Well, Buzz is on to a point here, because I was letting it pass, but Buzz has brought it back up. I did research earlier on this very doll that Buzz is talking about. Okay, and I passed it on. There was nothing interesting, in fairness, Buzz, about the amputee doll itself.
Where was it amputated?
At the legs.
Okay. It could have just had a prosthetic leg anyway, but go on.
It's all prosthetic.
Okay. Yeah,
it was the comments that had me wanting to bring it up, but when you moved on, I skipped it. But now it's been introduced to the jury. It's been introduced to the jury. So I'm just going to give you two quotes that I'd made a note of earlier. These are from customers, and both of these customers gave the doll 5 stars out of 5. Okay, but these comments seem to me inappropriate, right? So this is not the actual amputee doll that you're talking about here. It's a Barbie doll in wheelchair. I can put up the link after, but there are positive comments. It got 4.8 out of 5 from on average. So here's Sidag13 on the 2nd of February 2021 says, I bought this doll a few days ago and I just got it today and I absolutely love it. The feet are pretty delicate and the wheelchair is a bit loose, so it shakes a bit and Barbie kind of falls out. Great product, though. Now, this seemed to me a bit wrong. The feet are pretty delicate. So she basically goes on to explain that when they try to stand up the doll, it doesn't stand up. Right? Is that not the point? It's a doll in a wheelchair.
Well, if I suppose that to answer the question logically, is it depends if the prosthetic leg is attached or not.
Sorry, this isn't the amputee doll. This is a Barbie doll in a wheelchair with both legs.
Okay, so presumably she has lost the use of her legs. Well, then, yeah, of course, you wouldn't expect her to be able to stand up.
Yeah, but if you got any of your kids' dolls, none of them will stand up. Of the Barbie dolls,
that's true. Unless they have their high heels on. But yeah, you're right. They can't.
And will I read you the second thing from another positive?
You've started now, so you may as well finish.
Yeah. So this customer thinks her kids love it. But the reason her kids love it is they fucking race it around the place. It's totally inappropriate. I'll quote it. Alia, Aalia, bought this in August 2019. Kudos to Mattel for the realistic wheelchair. My 4-year-old daughter absolutely loves racing her Barbie in it.
but that's okay, isn't it? Like, let the child play with the fucking thing. Yeah. But like, they could be bogus reviews anyway. But I suppose the kid isn't that about education. Barbie scale electrics in wheelchairs. Buzz says. I added wheelchairs bit, but yeah.
There's got to be a niche market for it, isn't there?
There is, but like, I think that's about, again, and it ties into the special needs doll earlier, I suppose, in the sense of the physicality of it. If you give the kid a doll with special needs on it, a special need looking doll, a Down syndrome looking doll, you're going to have to explain and educate the child as well. You don't just give it to the child and let it run off and do whatever it wants to do with it. And the same thing, you're going to explain, oh, this is Barbie, she's in a wheelchair, you have to look after her. And can I ask you, is there a backstory as to how she ended up in a wheelchair in any of them boxes or anything?
Not that I know of.
Make up one then. As a parent, you make up a backstory. And that could be educational too. She didn't wear her seatbelt in the car. She was in a car crash. Do you know what I mean? But then the kid is going to want to put on a seatbelt every day then because the fucking Barbie lost her parents. Do you know what I mean? And her, no, but am I right? Like you could make up that
Buzz,
story.
right? Yeah.
Or as Buzz says, and I don't
condone
condone this, but Buzz in a funny way says, Ken went in the back door and things went sideways. I don't think, as adult humor, that's very good. I don't think I'd go there with the child, to be honest with you. But yeah, definitely make.
Do you not think the child needs to know about like proper sex?
At some point, yes, they do, and that depends on the child and its developmental state. But no, explain to the child why, and let her get a double lesson out of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're always thinking of the big picture, and that's really good. Yeah, very smart.
I appreciate that.
Turn everything into a lesson.
So talk to me about the company finds.
Okay, are you quite done, Buzz and Romo Clan?
No more
Is Romo Clan trying to get back at you? Because when I listen to Romo Clan's show, do you want to plug it again? What's it called?
Hit the lotto. Hit the lotto.
Hit the lotto. Hit the lotto. Hit the lotto. Romo Clan, is that your own tune? It's a really, really catchy. Yeah, when the first time I heard it, I thought this is shit.
It was made by
you found yourself humming it. Very, very good.
His good friends who are a very successful band, Johnny and not the Wailers, but I'm sure he'll post it up there if he's listening. They made especially for him, which is fantastic.
It's a pretty catchy tune.
Maybe they'll do one for Midnight in Baghdad if we plug them in.
We already have one.
So send us the
song. You just don't let us play it.
We're not allowed to play it for legal reasons. So talk to me about this company.
Well, can I just say, I think you took over Hit the Lotto a little bit on per Romo Clan.
Yeah, of course.
At one point, a guy rang in and you actually say, let him on. And you let the guy on the show. Whether Romo Clan wanted it or not, you were having him on.
Yeah, but you see, and like I know, and I was very conscious of doing that. But that's, I think, yeah, because it's kind of expected in a little way. Do you know what I mean? Like and that's the banter that goes back and forth. And I was very, very conscious of it. But when I said it, it was definitely intentional. And yeah, I did. But like that's what I do. I push the boundaries. Would he have let that guy answer in ordinary circumstances? Maybe not. But we wouldn't have had the memory of it. And I think it was good to push it in that direction.
Yep.
And in fairness, and I think it was capsulated in the end. And we shouldn't be talking about the show too much on our show, but when I listen back, I've listened to it 3 times now, believe it or not. And when I listen back, and at the one point, Chef Roz is on, and he gives this recipe to one of the other listeners who I think he thought was me, and he was mistaken. So I was pretending I was the one that had to ask the question. I was like, yeah, and which was taking the piss out of the earlier segment in the show.
Yeah.
I said I'll make sure Tree Put gets the message, as in, I was the control of the show. And in fairness, puts in and says, "Hey, I'll give it to him, Goldie," and we have that little moment there of acknowledgement that it was all a bit of good fun. So yeah,
it was a good show and nice, easy listening. And you covered a lot of ground. For anyone who's not Irish, they certainly would have had a good lesson in kind of toilet etiquette and what words mean. I loved the way you discussed "I will," yeah. I thought that was very good.
Yeah. No, it was a great show, to be fair. So definitely people should give it a listen. But
Yeah.
I need you
put
to
up
talk.
the link on the site.
I will.
Amco Electric Company, the Chinese company
Talk to me.
that only lets its employees go to the toilet once a day. So if they go more than once a day, and even to go once a day, they have to okay it with their boss first. So could you just imagine that for a second? You're an adult. You want to go take a slash or whatever, especially linking in with what you and Roma Clan were talking about for the toilet etiquette. You just want to go to the toilet. In the course of an 8-9 hour day, you're probably going to want to go at least once, but you have to okay it with your boss. You have to record it. It's written down. And if you go a second time in the day, you're fined. So you're fined the equivalent of, do you want to say it again? 20
Yuan.
20 yuan, like you're one.
Yeah.
Okay. Or which is the equivalent of $3. Now, the reason why the company did this, and this is where it gets interesting, I think.
And I'm glad, first of all, just before you go on, I'm glad, first of all, that they have an allowance, because if they hadn't got at least one of an allowance to go once, I wouldn't have been happy. So I'm glad that that's there. And secondly, I'm glad that there was a reason they brought it in, which is what you're going to explain to me now. So.
Yeah. And this reason, you will probably totally agree with it, maybe, but I definitely got this reason, and it makes a bit of logical sense. Do you want to guess the reason?
Productivity.
Yes,
people were. Yeah, of course. People were going to the toilet. They were taking the piss, literally. Probably on their phone. Yeah, but they were taking too much time. They were going too many times a day, and it was affecting productivity. And is this in China again?
China, yeah.
And China is built on productivity. Like, that's their economy, is productivity. Do you know what I mean? Like, they make shit. They supply the world with shit. So yeah, like, if you're not willing to be the best and to, only have a piss once a day, well, then there's no room for you here. We'll get a robot to replace you. Do you know what I mean?
That's interesting you say that, Goldie, because the company in their statement went out of their way to say they would have fired the employees for doing it the second time. Only it wasn't cost productive enough to have to fire them and rehire someone else. So they wanted to fire them. Instead, they deduct their $3 from their bonuses. Because it's all about productivity. In the space of 2 days after they introduced this new measure in December 2020, they had fined 7 workers already. So they're basically admitting they wanted to fire them, but they just didn't, because it would have been too costly to fire them. Too much trouble. So they just fined them out of their bonuses. But yeah, the gas thing, or the crazy thing, Goldie, or maybe not so crazy, is it caused a mixed reaction in China. It seems to be about 50-50. Half the people saying this is ridiculous, this is terrible, people's rights, etc., go toilet. The other half were saying no, people do just take the piss, like you said. They're just abusing the system. They're going to the toilet when they don't need to go to the toilet, and they're going checking their phone, or they're having a smoke.
Well, isn't this part of the China 2021 as well? Because we're all becoming more woke, I think is the phrase we use these days. And China has always been traditionally a very honorable, traditional culture. You do what's right, and you work hard or whatever, and you do what the government tells you to do. But that's changing, isn't it? They're way behind us in a lot of ways. But if China loses that, they're not going to be.
They lose the edge.
They're not going to be the powerhouse they are now. So the question there is for them, I guess, and as for us as the consumers, are we happy to let these people live like that just so we get what we want, or do we want them to have the revolution, but we're going to pay through the nose for shit because it's not going to be as efficient, and there's going to be worker rights and all this kind of stuff? What do you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
What decision would you make there? Would you pay more money? Would you pay more money just to know that somebody you've never met has a better quality of life?
In theory, my heart would say yes, but in reality, no. I mean, how often do I buy fair trade products? Not often enough. So probably no. I'll go for the cheaper shit.
But that's cheap goods, please, said Buzz. Yeah, I think a lot of us would go for the cheap goods. But fair trade, there's a scandal waiting to happen right there, in my opinion. I don't think there's no such thing as fair trade. there's a skeleton in that closet. There's an issue there. People are getting abused along that line somewhere, or getting taken advantage of. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that's a scandal waiting to happen, in my opinion.
Do you think? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But
I
think
was actually discussing fair trade with someone in work, my other job, not the real job, my other job last week, and they were saying, well, in these sweatshops, right, people aren't allowed to bring their lunches into the sweatshops in with them. They have to buy food provided by the factory, and it's just rice, literally just rice, and they have to. If they want to eat during the day, they can't bring in their own food. If they want to eat, they have to buy from the canteen in the factory, and it's taken out of their wages.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
It's wrong. It is wrong. But at the same time, how much are we willing to pay to change that? And that's what it really boils down to. How much are you, as an individual person, willing to pay to change that? Because you don't know. You hear the stories and you go, "Oh, it's terrible. That's awful." But really, once you're getting your cheap Nikes or whatever you're fucking buying, you're happy out.
You stay as, totally. Yeah. When I was looking this up, I decided I'd look up other companies. Were there any other crazy things? And two of the most recognizable companies, and certainly one of them is the biggest company in the world, if not the biggest or second biggest, is Amazon. And they have an interesting policy. They do not allow, in their warehouses, any products sold by the company to come into the warehouse floor. So if you're going into work tomorrow and you work in Amazon warehouse, you cannot have any product on you that is sold by Amazon.
Yeah. Which is pretty much everything.
That's what I would have thought.
Like you'd be walking in naked at this rate.
You'd nearly have to be, wouldn't you? Yeah.
But I think what that's obviously got to do with security and to stop pilfering and prevention loss. That's the word, prevention loss. Do you know, it's there to stop people pocketing stuff. Like, so I've
known there's logic behind it. Yeah,
there's friends of mine who I've known for the last 8-10 years, whatever it is.
2 days. Yep.
2 days, and they informed me that they used to work for a company and they used to fleece the place. They'd be walking out the door with stuff that was sold in the place, and. Obviously, if there's no reason for you to have that on your person, well, then you shouldn't have it walking out. Do you know what I mean? So I think I understand what Amazon are saying. You can't be walking in with stuff that you could potentially steal.
Yeah, I actually get it too. Yeah, I get it too. But it just when I put it so black and white, it comes across as kind of shocking, doesn't it? The other company is Netflix, and this really pissed me off. So, as a result of this is coming in the post Me Too movement.
Too late.
Is it only too late now?
Yeah.
Oh man, times change. That's so fucking politically correct, isn't it? Probably as well. There's a reason for it. Netflix, as a result of the Me Too movement, they introduced an internal rule called the 5-second rule stare.
Oh yeah.
You cannot look at someone else who's employed in Netflix, in the company, for longer than 5 minutes, or it will be considered sexual harassment.
5 minutes or 5 seconds?
Sorry.
5 minutes is a lot of time.
5 seconds, sorry.
You could get it 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
I would be done. Yeah, I'd be done. Not after 2.
Good luck.
Are you sure I can't buy you a drink? Yeah, sorry, 5 seconds. I mean, I know you want to talk about political correctness gone wrong earlier, but later. So that's just, I mean, how?
Yeah, but
how can you abide by that rule?
It's wrong, but it's like you can understand why it is in this day and age. But like, what can I ask? What's like? How long before you can look again? Like, what's the downtime? Do you know what I mean?
You're looking for the loophole already. You don't even fucking work there, and you're trying to find the loophole.
I know, but is it 5 seconds for the whole day? Or is it
5
like
seconds,
5
look
seconds
away,
at a time, and then
you can look back 5 seconds later? That's a good point.
You could make that work. You could definitely make that work
if you wanted to sexually harass someone.
But is it sexual harassment looking at somebody? Like we talk about going in. You know, when we went for interviews back in the day, we were told to maintain eye contact and blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? Act a certain way, and eye contact was one of the biggest things. If you don't have it, you just didn't pass the interview. And now we're actively encouraging people not to look at each other. There's no personality there. There's no personal connections. There's nothing. That has to be wrong. Do you know what I mean? How does it flip 180 in a matter of days?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
fucking
I
hell.
totally agree with you. Come here, Goldie. I keep getting this thing. It's obviously I'm not an equal member of this show. I keep getting support. Thank you for listening. If you like this show, lend your support. Send a gift. I am fucking part of Midnight in Baghdad. So why do I keep getting asked this by Podbean?
Because it's basically you owe
It's
us
like
a
throw
fortune.
Jimmy a bone.
No, but like in fairness, it's because I've been sending those messages to you through a bot because I'm trying to encourage you to pay your fucking debt to the show.
How much
You know,
do I owe? I surely can't
it's-
owe when we haven't been on air in 3 months. I
It
pay
doesn't
my
matter.
dues.
The monthly subscription still continues. You owe me probably 80 quid or something at this stage, for fuck's sake. But it doesn't matter. We'll talk about it off air.
Right, well, stop sending me the support message. I get it. I've gotten hundreds. It's like that time we went onto that show. Hey, Charlie, where are you? You send us money.
Yeah, that's the African religious channels. Yeah, they're very good.
We don't know it was African. We don't know that.
No, it's definitely African. You should tune in. But let's get back on track here because we're way off track here, and we're having a bit of fun, but that's okay. A man shot dead while filming robbery prank for YouTube. Please say. Have you heard about this story?
No. Tell me a bit about it.
So tell me here, right? 2 men with big knives approach you outside a trampoline park at night. You've got a gun on you. What do you do?
This is America, is it?
I'm asking you, Charlie. You're walking through the trampoline park at nighttime. 2 men with big knives approach you, and you've got a gun. What do you do?
I wouldn't shoot them. Is that what you're? I'd give them my money if that's what they're looking for.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're saying that you would immediately just give them your money?
Yeah.
And what if that's not what they wanted? What if they wanted to fucking kill you?
Why? Did I say something to offend them on the show?
No, but I'm just asking you, like, how are you so confident that by giving them, like, this is the innocence and naivety of you, Charlie, that I love and I hate. Like, how, like, you think just by giving them your money that they're going to go away?
So go back. What have you said? You said 2 men with knives approach me. Are they attacking me? Are they brandishing their knives at me?
There's 2 men walking towards you holding a big knife. The 2 of them have a big knife. Like, there's enough information there to fucking.
They're both holding it, are they?
No, they have
really
a knife.
Heavy. Is it like Excalibur?
No, they have a big knife each, right?
Right.
And they're just walking towards you.
That's literally it. That's all.
Literally it. Yeah. What would you do? Like, literally, what do you do in that situation?
Definitely would not shoot them.
But I haven't asked you that yet. Like, you're telling me what you wouldn't do. I'm asking you what you will do.
I'd run like the clappers.
You'd run?
Yeah, absolutely. If I saw a weapon anywhere, I'm running. Yeah.
Okay, so you've acknowledged that they don't have to even say anything to you at this point. You're acknowledging that you're taking action.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're running.
Yeah.
And you're confident.
Even if I have a gun.
You're confident that you'll outrun these guys, yeah?
Me personally, yeah.
Yeah. You are.
Okay. I also think, though, it will be my instinctive reaction. It's not something I consciously decide, I can beat these guys. I think that would be my instinct.
Okay, so let's say they run, and they corner you, right? You're in this corner now. You're out of breath. You've been running for like fucking 3 minutes. You're fucking bollocks, right?
3 minutes? Okay.
No, but running for your life. It's very different running for 3 minutes, going for a 5K run, and running for your life. Do you know what I mean? You're out of fucking breath, and you're in this corner, and there's no way out, and they're approaching you. What do you do?
Are they talking to me at this point?
They're walking towards you. They're a little bit out of breath as well. They've been chasing you. So
and they've got the big heavy knife as well. They're trying to carry.
Yeah, and this is all the information you have.
Okay.
What do you do?
So do they have the knife, each knife out, sticking towards me, Goldie? Like, is it does it look like they're attacking me?
they fucking chased you through the fucking park.
Yeah, but I could have dropped my wallet or something.
You're always hoping.
Imagine that. They've got knives. Sir. you dropped your library card.
No,
is it obvious I'm being attacked? Yeah.
Well,
is it?
You have
but
to
they haven't
assume
said
it,
anything.
don't you? You have they're holding knives up into the sky, so it's out right in front of them, kind of elbows tight to the chest.
So I know what you want me to
Arms
say.
out,
You want me to say I'm going to shoot them? Yeah.
I don't want
How
you
you
to
want
say
me-
that. I'm asking you what you would do.
I wouldn't shoot them. I
Okay,
wouldn't.
I know you wouldn't, but what would you do?
I'd run again.
No,
I'd be...
no, you can't. You're cornered, for fuck's sake. Roll the 20. Roll a D20 there and let's find out what he fucking does. Like, what would you do?
So I'm not allowed to run. I'm not going to shoot them. I'm not going to try and reason with them. I'm not going to talk to them. So I don't know. Will I throw my wallet at them in the hope that will get rid of them? What do you want me to say?
Okay, and you throw your wallet at them, and it jumps on the ground, bounces in front of their foot, and they look down.
They're like, "Sir, you dropped your your wallet again."
No, they look down and they kind of smirk. They just smirk at your wallet, and they look right back up at you, and they keep walking towards you. What are you doing now?
Oh, man, I don't know. I've never thought of this.
Well,
can I add something in here?
You don't get time to think about this stuff. You don't get time.
If I had my daughter with me, I would pull the gun immediately and shoot them.
Okay.
Immediately.
Okay.
But if I don't, if I'm on my own, maybe you think I'm naive here. I would be quite confident in my ability to escape from the situation without shooting.
Even though you're cornered.
I don't think I would be cornered in the first place. I'd be pretty confident about that.
Wow. But so you're acknowledging that by killing them with your child there, you're acknowledging that there is a serious threat, but you're just not willing to kill for it.
I'd kill to protect my kid. I don't think I need to kill to protect myself.
Okay.
If I see the threat, yeah. Now, you might think that's naive. I don't know.
I think it's very naive. I think it's very naive. Why would
You've never seen me run?
Why would you take that? I have. Why have you taken that chance? But anyway, so this actually happened, right? So
what would you do?
Well, I'd shoot them. Absolutely.
Immediately.
Yeah. I'd take the gun out. I'd try to give them an opportunity to back off. I'd tell them to, what the fuck they're at or whatever. But if they kept coming, they'd 1 or 2 seconds to make that decision for themselves. Then they were going down. Absolutely.
Okay. And based on your understanding of the law in this country, what would happen to you?
Well, this is what we're going to discuss. So this is obviously in Nashville. Okay. No, sorry, it's not in Nashville. A YouTube prank that went wrong in Tennessee. Yeah, so that could be Nashville. So he was participating in a YouTube prank. Police say he was shot by someone who was not in on the joke. So this guy saw 2 men coming at him with butcher knives, right, outside the trampoline park, 9:20 p.m. last Friday. So he shot one of them in defense of himself and others. Timothy Wilkes, who was 20, died in the shooting. And Will's friend told police that they were trying to stage a robbery prank for their YouTube channel. The pair armed themselves with butcher knives and approached a group of people outside the Urban Air Trampoline Park in Old Hickory, Tennessee, where the shooting took place. Like, what? Like, you're immediately asking for trouble there, aren't you?
Yeah. Like, this wasn't their first time doing this prank, was it?
Presumably, they've done other pranks on YouTube. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But like in a gun state like America or a country, Tennessee is certainly you're allowed to hold your own gun. Like, you're asking for trouble. How does that not cross these people's minds that we could get shot here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
is that maybe the thrill for them, Goldie? Like, you love the danger, the risk. There has to be an element of risk for you.
Oh no, there's no way
what these guys got off on.
I don't think so. I think they just want to do something funny and to scare the shit out of somebody and to try and make a viral fucking YouTube video. That's all that happened. 20.
Okay, so old enough to know better.
They should know
14.
Better. They should know better. So what I'm really getting at here is, should that person be prosecuted for shooting them?
Okay.
I'm asking
my opinion.
I'm asking you that question.
Not in a million years, no.
No. But then are you not? No, but are you opening it up then to loopholes for people who want to commit murder? Do you know what I mean? If you're saying that if you kill somebody during a prank, do you think that the number of murders would actually increase?
So you're saying that if even someone in a next circumstance might know it's a prank, but might decide, right, I'm just going to kill this person anyway because I know I'll get away with it.
Yeah, or as Buzz says, you're walking down the street and you're saying, "Here, hold this massive knife for me for a second," and then your man is holding a knife, and then you just shoot him and say, "Oh, he came at me with a knife." Like people start staging pranks just to kill people.
It's possible. It's not very plausible, Goldie.
I think anything in this world is plausible.
So give me a scenario where you could see this happening or being exploited.
No, but as Buzz says there, can you imagine I came up to you tomorrow and I said, "Here, listen, we're shooting a prank here on YouTube. Do you mind holding this knife? Just walk towards me, and then I'll pretend to be scared and run away." And you're like, "Oh yeah, okay." And
hold on, Goldie. What person in the right mind is going to say, "Yeah, okay"?
People will, of course, people will.
Well, that might be a good way to deal with the gene pool issue then, because anyone who does that, in fairness, I'm not saying they deserve to be killed, but that might be the kind of person who will run across the road without looking left or right. Then
No, but there's people out there that are just naive and who are, and other people on the other side who are very good at confidence tricksters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That they'll make it out to be legit, that we're shooting this show or whatever, and they'll convince you, and you'll just play along because human nature is we don't want to say no to stuff. It's hard to say no. So if it's we'll take a chance. We'll say yes a lot of the time. We don't want to cause a problem. So I think definitely people could be tricked into doing that.
This could be the perfect murder that we've discussed before.
It could be.
In other words, not only do you get to commit it, you get to commit it and record it. So you've got that added bonus. You admit you've killed the person, yet you walk. So the only negative thing is,
it's not a movie plot already.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It will be now. Really next week there's going to be a movie announced, and we'll be like, those fuckers copying us again.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be Ronan Keating in it or Alan Partridge.
Yeah.
Always those fuckers. You're right, though. It's a really good idea. It could be exploited, totally. Yeah. The only negative thing is, obviously, the person who you're going to be picking. So the one thing I always imagine is in a murder that you get to choose the victim. It's important. The victim is important in some way. In this case, that's the only limiting factor here.
Well, it's not really limiting, is it? If you wanted to kill a particular person, you just you learn a routine and you catch them off guard and you get them to partake in this thing. Do you know what I mean? Like you could orchestrate it fairly easily if you really wanted to.
But you are saying the kind of person who's going to agree to carry this knife, like Buzz is saying, is going to be someone. Not everyone's going to do that. You're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I presume Buzz and
You probably would do it. A chance to go viral, I'd probably do it, yeah.
Well, you would.
I probably would, yeah. If they convince me enough for me to go, yeah, fuck it, why not? Like, you know what I mean?
And the weird thing is the people that come to me are probably genuine, and then they get a video of this guy legging it off faster than Tom Cruise doing his running in his films, and they're thinking, we're just asking a lad to do a prank. Look at him running off, and he's shouting at us. What is he saying? If I had my daughter with you, I'd be killing you right now.
Yeah, there you go. It could go either way for you, really.
Yeah, it could. So different people. It's a really interesting theory. Can I ask you, Goldie, going back to your original thing? Did the guy get off?
It hasn't been. It looks like he did. It didn't say anything about. Oh, he has. Yes. No, that's the chicken sandwiches. So that's something else. No, yeah, it didn't elaborate. So presumably,
okay. And do you think he should get off then?
I think you need. I'm going to give a bullshit answer again, I guess, but you need to just weigh it up, don't you? You need to look at the circumstances, and I don't think it should be brought into that if you kill somebody when it was a prank, that you get off. I don't think that should be put in, but I think every circumstance on its own merit.
Okay.
Is what I think.
Can I ask you, Goldie, your understanding of the law in America? Like you see it in the movies. I'm going to mention The Simpsons again because that's how I heard about it, where Homer tries to invite Flanders into his house, and then he's basically going to kill Flanders, and then someone says, no, it doesn't work if you've invited him into your house. So if there's an intruder in your house, according to American law, is it true that if you shoot them, you're grand because they're an intruder? Or if you kill them, sorry, you're grand because they're an intruder. Is that true, or is that just an urban myth?
I think it's overall true, but I think it depends on the particular state you're going to be in. Different states would have different laws. So they're there's stand your ground states where people, the law is you can stand your ground. Whereas in a lot of other countries, definitely, if there's an opportunity to retreat, you should retreat, and that's the difference. So not all states have that stand your ground, but I think in a lot of states you are entitled to defend your home at any means.
Wow. Okay. Do you remember 15, 20 years ago, there was a farmer in Ireland who shot a traveller?
Yes.
And he was arrested. And at the time, everyone was saying, fair play to the farmer. He'd rang the police a number of times about these travellers who were robbing all his farm shit. But then it turned out he'd shot the traveller in the back. So it wasn't like the traveller was robbing him, coming at him. The traveller was running away, and the farmer shot him. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, and that's what the law is. If the threat, like you're allowed to kill somebody to defend yourself if you believe there's a threat to your life, right? But if somebody's running away from you, they no longer possess, or is the word possess? They no longer possess a threat to your life. Is that the right word? Present. That's the word. Sorry, I've had a few too much whiskeys. Yeah, they no longer present a risk to your life. Do you know what I mean? So therefore, you should let them go, and that's where that particular farmer went down.
Okay, but you've given me the law there, and you're right. My understanding is you're right, but I'm asking you, Goldie, do you think, did it feel fair to you that guy was put in jail? Do you think that was right?
Yeah, I think it was. Again, it's like what we talked about earlier on the show with the Down syndromes and the father who was jailed. No, but it was, and we talked about a lot of situations where we feel very sorry.
The transgender?
Yeah, what did I say?
The Down syndrome.
No, but we talked about the Down syndrome trial earlier on.
We did, but the father wasn't jailed.
No, that was in the different one where he called his daughter the transgender. Yeah, so yeah, you definitely. You've lost my total chain of thought there now, Charlie. You really have. You totally fucked it up. Yeah, once the threat doesn't exist anymore, you have to let them go. And if that threat doesn't present itself anymore, you have to let them go. So that farmer didn't abide by that, and the consequences of not punishing him would have been disastrous. It would have set a terrible precedent.
Okay. But I do kind of agree with you, Goldie, but just to be the devil's advocate here, you say that the threat wasn't presented anymore. Okay, it wasn't at that exact moment, but the farmer knew that traveller would come back, if not the next night, the night after that. So
but then you deal with that.
The threat was still there. The threat hadn't gone away.
Well, but it has to be an imminent threat. It can't be, this fella's probably going to do something to me tomorrow. That can be mitigation, I suppose. Once you bring that before a jury and you get convicted, and that can be a mitigating circumstance, and it might reduce your sentence or something. But it definitely it can't be accepted.
No, I totally agree with you, Goldie.
Some legislation or some definition, not be the aggressor, and use enough force to combat the threat and no more. And that's exactly it. Don't bring a gun to a fist fight. And that's a lot of jurisdictions. So, but as somebody very not close to me, but somebody I suppose who I've been close to over the last couple of years has always said to me,
is it?
It's not you, funnily enough, but they said to me, it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And that kind of rings home.
Good.
In the heat of the moment, do what's necessary to protect yourself and deal with what comes later, So yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. But that's kind of come to the end of our stories for tonight, and I believe we're going to move on to the next segment of the show.
Lovely. Short show tonight for once.
Oh, I'm in agony.
Excellent. And
we are here with the agony aunt. Charlie, did anyone write into Goldie over the last 3 months while we've been off air?
They did.
Excellent. I'm sure you're inundated.
Yes, I am. As in flooded, which is what inundated means. I'm going to have to get my laptop. I thought we were going to have someone calling in with this tonight, no?
No. As you know from the start of the show, folks, that Lockhart has been put on temporary suspension for his actions in our last show. But he's not available to call in tonight. You have to
Someone
get your
say
laptop.
it should be permanent.
You're not prepared.
My I was going to say laptop, but what I really mean is desktop computer, big massive thing with the big fat. You know the way you have a flat screen? My one is the thing that goes all the way, pretty much takes up half.
Cathode ray tube. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Okay. Are you ready, Goldie?
I'm ready.
This was addressed to you in person.
Talk to me.
Dear Goldie, my husband and I like to go away occasionally to a hotel for a night or two in order to rekindle our marriage. We have 2 young children, so we have always tried to keep our romantic life alive we've always tried to keep our romantic life alive through these passionate nights away. Recently has gotten more kinky as we have started to play little games where my husband would pretend to be a stranger in order to spice up our sex life a bit. For example, he would get me to dress provocatively and go down to the bar and order a drink. He would follow me after 10 minutes, but not sit near me or even acknowledge that he knew me. We would then wait until a man would chat me up or try to buy me a drink. This turned both myself and my husband on. And although I would chat to the man for a while, it would never go any further. My husband and myself would then go upstairs and have amazing sex all night. The last time, however, something changed. When my husband...
That was really long, wasn't it?
Yeah. The last time, however, something changed. When my husband and I were having sex in the hotel room, I realized that someone was watching us from the bathroom. When I approached my husband about this,
I'm all over this, man. I love
it. Oh, what was that applause for?
There was somebody watching them, yeah.
Right, okay. Where was I? Someone watched us from the bathroom. When I asked my husband about this, he strenuously denied it and pushed me onto the bed so that I could not see in the direction of the bathroom. When I looked after we finished the sex, there was no one in the bathroom. What should I do, Goldie? Yours, Derek.
Derek. Is this 2 blokes?
I think so, yeah. I don't know. Derek is, yeah, I'm guessing.
So this is 2 blokes. So let me get this straight. He thought there was somebody in the bathroom, but there wasn't, but the boyfriend played along when he thought there was.
Or, no, based on my reading of this, I think there was someone. I think the husband pushed it to the next level. He actually wanted someone watching them having sex, and then he denied it because he didn't want his partner to know. So that's why he pushed. It wasn't Derek. It was Darina. He pushed her back down on the bed so she couldn't see. She certainly thinks that he pushed her on the bed so that your man would leave. I don't know.
Yeah, but when Darina checked later on, there was nobody there.
No, nobody there. That's what she said.
So, yeah, so presumably then it was just, as Buzz says, a ghost or a figment of her imagination or something that just excited her, maybe. So you think that was actually somebody there?
This is your... Yeah, that's how I would.
But this is my bread and butter. Like
this is yours.
This is like this Darlene, is it? It's like she knows me. Darina, this is my...
She's a famous chef. I don't want to say anymore. She's a famous Irish chef.
But yeah, like, this is it's like, have we met? Do you know what I mean? Because that's my ultimate fantasy. To be able to do that is just phenomenal, to heighten your sex life.
Wait, what person do you want to be in that fantasy?
I don't know. I want to be everybody. I want to be them all. Do you know what I mean? I want to be the woman. Yeah, you're right, Buzz. I actually don't want to be the woman. There's a part of me in a different way. Yeah, I'd love, if I was a woman for a day, I'd go out and have so much sex. Like, I'd love to experience what it's like for a woman. But no, you're rubbing your mic there. I don't mean.
Sorry, this is exciting. This is an exciting story.
No, but if I, as a man, I prefer to be.
Mike.
I think I prefer to be the man watching in the bathroom, but I also want to be the other guy too. I think more the man in the bathroom watching, if I'm being honest. because we've talked about being a cuckold previously on the show, and
you have several times, yeah.
and it's definitely.
But I still don't understand why. What's the?
Well, to see, like, there's so many different elements of it. It's to see your woman being pleasured more than you can pleasure her. Like, if you love somebody so much, is it not good to make them feel good? Do you know what I mean? So, like, if somebody else can pleasure her better than you can, or just differently, well, then why not give that opportunity? And knowing that you've done that for her is very exciting.
Is it purely just for her pleasure, or do you not get something out of that?
No, but it's reciprocal. Like, the cause and effect, the fact that your spouse or partner, whoever experiences that, the fact that excites you and makes you feel good for making her feel good, well, then that's good, isn't it? Like, what's the issue? What's the problem there?
Well, a lot of it's I suppose socially still an issue, isn't it? It's not a widely done thing, the cuckold thing. Well, so there must be issues still.
Come on. It is a widely done thing. It's done all the fucking time. Like, it's just not spoken about. I know. Like, of course.
Name names, Goldie.
No, I'm not naming names. I can't ever name names. I'm sworn to secrecy. Will you stop moving the bloody mic around the place? Like, yeah, it's definitely very normal. Oh, and Charlie has gone off air. I don't know, folks, if that is in protest or if that is in... Oh, he's after saying fuck off. He's actually angry. Yeah, he's angry. He's after cut me off. I don't even remember what I was saying. But if somebody else would like to call in Charlie's place, please do. Apologies, Charlie's, if any offense. That's our third apology of the night. Apology for any offense that was caused to you. But my answer to that person's agony aunt is basically to embrace it. Do you know what I mean? Did it excite you? If it excited you to know that there was somebody watching you, well, then embrace it. Play along with it. If it was true, well, then great. No harm was done. If it wasn't true, is it something that you want to be true? Maybe have a discussion. I think if you discuss, it's very difficult to discuss these things with your partners, but it's very important to have a healthy relationship when it comes to sex vocally rather than actually doing it. Doing it obviously is very important too, but it's very good to discuss it. And a lot of people don't like to discuss it outside the bedroom, so it's definitely very important. Charlie, we'd love if you call back in. I apologize profusely for any offense that may have been caused. I will review the tapes after the show, and I'll issue a formal apology on the website then, if, at that stage. I can't even remember what I said. Shouldn't her partner have run it by her first, though? Yes and no, Charlie. I think, like, I'm talking to you now like you're just a caller. But, like, yeah, maybe. But, like, if this person wasn't willing to, I suppose, take that next step without a little push, well, then, no, don't run it by her first. Do you know what I mean? Like, judge it for yourself. If you feel that she kind of wants it, but is kind of embarrassed or afraid, you maybe need to give it a little bit of a nudge, but you have to judge it, and God forbid if you get it wrong. Again, the excitement is surprise. Exactly. It is very exciting. And in the moment, it's fucking highly arousing, and you might regret it after, or you might not have liked it, but at least you've tried it. Do you know what I mean? Karak have dealt with it better. I'm not sure what that reference is about. Charlie, if you call in, it would be amazing. If not, we're going to move on to our final segment of the show, which is the Florida Man. And the Florida Man, I don't know if people know about this phenomenon, but if you Google Florida Man and put in any date from the 365 and a quarter days of the year, put in any date, your birthday, a lot of people would do originally, is Google it, and you'll find some crazy law or some crazy story in Florida that somebody has done. And if you're looking at us on live here now at the moment, you'll see Florida man wanted a woman's egg roll so badly it landed him in jail, police say. And this happened on the 22nd of March 2019, so 2 years ago to the day. And this is the new segment of the show. We're going to look at what the Florida man did 2 years ago. And we've only got 2 minutes left to go, folks, because Charlie didn't pay the fucking bills. But basically, this Florida man, he's 44, of Pensacola, was arrested by the Middleton Police Department. He basically looked in the window, saw this woman eating egg rolls, and basically wanted them for himself. So burst in her door to get them and ended himself in jail. That's the Florida man for this week, folks. We've only got a couple of seconds left in the show because Charlie didn't pay the bills as usual. We may have a different host next month. Who knows? I think we're back on the 19th of April for a brand new show. So hopefully we'll see you then, folks. I've been Goldie Metcalf. Charlie Naughton has been a bit of a prick, but this, as always, has been Midnight in Baghdad. Good night, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Love you.